When I prepare for a big dive on comp days, I get up early and I drink water, and then I do about an hour of yoga, very soft stretches relating to breath. And once I am done with that section of my morning, I then do breathing exercises and sinus stretches.
What's a sinus stretch?
So what I'll do is, it's taken from yoga. I'll pack, but I pack through my nose, and I'll do 5 on each side where I just pack using my Adam's apple. And here's an example of a few. And I'll do that about 20 times, and then I'll exhale, and I'll do about 5 on each side.
What does that do?
What does it do? It stretches my lungs out to get ready for the dive. It also stretches my sinuses, and also helps them drain, if there's anything in there, but it's something very natural. And all throughout the yoga practice and the sinus stretches, and then I go on to a little bit more with the breathing, the most important thing that I've found for a good dive is to calm my vagus nerve. So my routine before my dives wakes up and stretches my body, but puts me in a very relaxed state. Just relaxing my nerves, being peaceful. I try not to think. I try to be more in the moment that day, where I'm not doing like math problems, or solving, the world's problems or things like that. I try to keep a very peaceful morning. So I'll do the sinus stretches, and then I'll also do diaphragm stretches where I will exhale. And this is very common for a lot of free divers, where you exhale, shh, and then you pull up, and you do that like 3 times. And then while you're holding your breath, you'll move from side to side, back and forward. But what's very important with that is before you inhale, you exhale again while you're leaned over, and then inhale, so that you don't strain anything. And so after all of this, and I do my yoga and I do my sinus stuff, then I'm ready for my dive. And then before I'm actually diving, when I'm in the water, I'll go through some breathing that I was taught. Basically 6 rounds of inhaling, exhaling, and then the hatha breath. And then about 4 to 6 rounds of that. And then before I do my dive, I'll breathe in real big. And then as I'm exhaling, I visualize a color. My color's blue. And as I exhale from my head to my toes, I see the blue going down, and the above it is transparent and white. So it's sort of ombres down my body. And again, it's just to relax all my nerves, because I found the biggest impact to my diving on any given day. The variation is how relaxed I am and whether I'm having really comfy thoughts. And so I'll do that visualization, and then I'll turn and do my dive. I think it's really important for me, while I do my dives, because my brain can be busy, is once I get into my free fall, I think of my favorite song of the week. I have different songs that I use. Maybe the most peaceful one for that week, and because I come from a dancing background, I sing to myself while I'm in free fall, and then I turn around, and then I have a different song when I come up. I borrowed that from a friend of mine who told me to, when I'm in my free fall, think of my happiest moments. And so they think about their cat, and sometimes I think about my cat, and then I sing a happy song. And it was really crazy because the first time I did it as an experiment, because I like to try things out and prove whether things work or don't work, because I tease, I'm not the deepest diver in the world, but I've dove with all of them. So I like to borrow and try out things that they use, and everybody's a little different. But with the thinking the happy thoughts and being relaxed and slowing down, but more than anything, lightheartedness and thinking happy thoughts can really, really increase the period of time that I can hold my breath. I used to really struggle to try to make it to, like, on a free immersion dive and a warm up, to do like a minute 30. And now my best friend and coach says I can't do over 240. And I have to keep myself from doing more than 240 before a target dive. And it's really based on that relaxation and visualization. And that's what I do. So what I think about when I'm in the water is I think about, before I'm even preparing for my dive or doing any special breathing, my body has 2.5 minutes of air, just without any preparation. So that lets me know, okay, I don't have to rush, because the majority of the dives that I do are under 2.5 minutes for me, because I'm not a spear fisherman. And then from that, practicing breath holding, either out of the water or in the water, I know that I can do 5 minutes. So when I'm on a dive, even if you're doing less, what I tell people that dive with me is, you have all the time in the world. And the slower your metabolism is, and the more relaxed you have, the more time you have. And like, I've tested that with, again, the visualization and being happy and being relaxed. When I'm relaxed, hitting 3 minutes on a breath hold on a dive is not a problem at all. Like, I tell people when I'm doing certain warm-up dives, when I'm doing my warm-up dive, which my warm-up dive is to 30 meters, and I have a friend here who taught me how to do it, and we go as slow as we can to the bottom of 30 meters, and we stay there, and then we go as slow as we can up. So if you're preparing to dive or scuba dive, it's when you want to, and this is, I'm borrowing from a friend of mine too, when you want to go faster, go slower. When you start off, especially in your first 10 to 20 meters, go slow. That's the biggest air, compression. That's the biggest, it halves within that first 10 meters. So don't rush, that's why I have a song I sing in my head. That's why I do the visualizations. And I have a lot of friends that come to me and they're like, I'm stuck at 10 meters, I'm stuck at 20 meters. And then we dive together and we joke around on the line and we get them relaxed. And I'm like, you have all the time in the world. Because I think what happens with most people is they have that fear of depth and they think they're under a time clock. But when you start the dive off knowing you have more time than you're going to use, then you can really have your fullest dive, because you're not either frantic to get down or frantic to get back up. And for spear fishermen, I'm not a big spear fisherman, but I have friends that dive. It's your struggle when you're fighting at the bottom is when you're using the most oxygen. So, I would say to them, when you're in a panic, so here's an example. Several years ago, I went to a freediving, to a camp, and you work your way up to your target dive. And on that last day, I was doing my target dive, and they told me what a blackout would be. And it would be a closing of your visualization. It's like going into a tunnel and you feel your optic start to close in. And So it was bifins, and that was back in the day when 30 meters was a big dive for me, and I was rushing down, and I was kicking fast coming up, and I felt it starting to close in. And then I relaxed and thought, I've got safety divers, I'm safe. And then I just halved my kicking, and I slowed my metabolism down, and it all opened back up, and I never blacked out. So I think a big component of this more than anything is mental more than anything, and relaxation. So if you know that you have time, if you know that you're not rushed, but also, as you move for depth, if you take it incrementally and just practice in a little bit more relaxed and a little bit more relaxed. The other thing that I think is a really key component is the extended exhales. When I'm laying on the surface and I'm doing my visualization and my extended exhales, more than anything, what I think it's doing to my metabolism is, again, relaxation and calming the vagus nerve and calming my mind, because the mind uses a lot of oxygen. So maybe that's why, but it works. So usually if I'm just getting to the float, I'll have a snorkel. I'll have my face down, and I'll do the inhale, exhale 4 times, and just really accentuate the exhales, and then do the hatha breath, where you move it through your diaphragm. And again, this I learned from Annabelle Edwards. So I breathe in, and then my exhale is twice as long. I do that 4 times, and then the hatha breath.
Do you count? Do you count your breath-ins?
I do a lot of counting because I come from a dancing background, and I find that very...
Okay, so then can you